Hello, YouTube. It's Ryan. This is going to be a Southern Charm recap plus some pop culture stories. I'm just going to hit record on the podcast because this is actually a podcast for iHeartRadio on a daily basis called "So Bad It's Good" with Ryan Bailey. But Bapa Do, Bapa Dee, we're going to get into the Southern Charm episode now. Let me just hit record. And folks, welcome to an all new episode of So Bad It's Good with Ryan Bailey. This is Ryan. This is your Wednesday episode. We've made it halfway through the week. I think it's going so quickly. We're so close to the weekend, and I feel like we're just getting started. Today, we're going to do a Southern Charm recap from this past Thursday's episode. Now, I was lucky enough to do this recap already with Ronnie Karam of Watch What Crappens. And I would say just go listen to that, but I want to do it for us anyways, because I'm just going to be sillier and stupider. And because Maritza told me I should do this so I can commit to something and not quit. So she's like, you've done all the episodes. You need to do this episode too. So I'm like, okay. And we'll throw some pop culture stories in there as well, so you can get a full show out of this. How are you guys today? I hope you're doing good. It just keeps going. Tonight, this is Tuesday night. Tonight is supposedly the premiere opening party of Schwartz and Sandy's over at Vanderpump Rules. They're doing a Daily Mail party over there. So huge news over the Vanderpump Rules front. They have been filming now almost a week, and I wonder how many minutes of film you get in filming for a week. Like, I truly do wonder what the breakdown of that is. If the first week went well, if they feel like they're getting enough drama. It feels like we talked about this article that Lala did, or an interview that Lala did, that said she didn't sign her contract until the night before. And I heard a similar thing with Sheena. And I just love when reality stars play hardball negotiations, and it's like, listen, Lala is huge for Vanderpump Rules, but it's not like it's Brad Pitt, it's like, whoa, Brad dropped out of that movie. Like, Lala, come on. What else are you going to do? You need the show to then sell the other things. Like, I mean, I feel like they really don't have a lot of negotiating power. I'm so curious what the Vanderpump Rules cast is getting paid, because I feel like anything is better than nothing at this point. When it comes to reality stars, you're 10 years into the game, and you might be like, well, I'm such and such, so I deserve this much money. But if your show is taking a long break, you're just looking to get back to work. And I feel like if you do the reality show, it feeds into all of the other businesses. And I would assume that nobody would say no to doing this unless you were a very beginner. Now, I remember season 9, I believe, I knew somebody that had been offered to be on the cast, and they turned it down because they were offered, I think it was $20,000 for the entire season for every episode. And they're like, but you'll make it in the back end with social media and things like that. So I get curious. I don't know if you guys are like that. The more you watch these shows, the more you actually want to see how they're pieced together, or how the sausage is made, and see if it completely ruins anything. If you love Real Housewives Ultimate Girls Trip season 2, like I do over on Peacock, I just recapped episode 6 over on the Patreon. And also Bill and Becky Bailey, my parents, did a little Patreon interview separately from what you guys heard them on Monday's episode. So 2 new episodes over on the Patreon today. I'm getting really sad that the season finale of Girls Trip will be airing this, what is it, Wednesday, Thursday? Well, I don't, all the days mean nothing anymore, but I'm sad that it's going to be over, because I truly grew to like that show. I mean, it's batshit crazy. It truly is batshit crazy, but I started to really enjoy the craziness. And I got to tell you, and nobody, I think there's only a handful of people that'll do this. If you watch the show, each episode 2 times, it gets better. That second time, you start to see the richness, the details. It's like a housewives onion. There's just so many layers to it. And I truly hope Dorinda is okay. I mean, I really, because a lot of us have expressed our opinions about Dorinda and her drinking and things of that nature. And I think we all say this because we truly like Dorinda, but I get really nervous for her, because I wonder if she gets her feelings hurt. I wonder if she thinks we're all just trolls, because that's the Kim Kardashian way, right? Is if anybody says anything negative about you, don't listen to it. Just say they're trolls and keep on moving. I don't listen to the negativity. I only listen to the positivity. I cannot wait to get to that part. I only listen to the negativity right now, and I've grown to really, it's like a little Snuggie blanket. I just kind of wrap myself up in negative comments and I dig it. Speaking of doing this on YouTube, it's very frustrating because I can see how crazy my hair is getting. It's horrible. I say this like it's like I have a barber, but like she's not, like she's only cut my hair twice, but I call her my barber because it kind of sounds cool. And she DM'd me this week because she follows me on Instagram and said, "Oh, it looks like you're due for a haircut and a beard trim." And I'm like, "Yeah, but like, how dark is that?" Where like people are reaching out to me, they're like, "You need like it," and I like, "Oh, maybe she just needed like some money or something." But at the same time, I'm like, she's right. But like, how dark that's actually in my DMs. Like, guys' DMs usually are like girls are like flirting with people or guys are flirting with people. And my DMs are like, "You look really messy. You should come in for a haircut." And I said, "Oh yeah, soon." She goes, "How about this week?" And I'm like, "Are we going to make an appointment right here over it was rough." I left my parents today, Bill and Becky Bailey. We celebrated my mom's 74th birthday. It is always wild to be with your parents. And, you know, I already miss them. They're, like I said Monday, the loves of my life. They crack me up, truly crack me up, because I think you guys know with your parents, if you're lucky enough to still have them around and that you actually get along with them, it's just, it becomes a sitcom. It truly becomes a sitcom because you're onto them. You caught on to their little games that they play with each other. And you're like, "Oh my God, I cannot believe at one point I let you guys ground me. I cannot believe you're the one that told me to take out the trash every week." And I did it. Like for $5. That's what, like, my allowance was $5. And they're still like she told me to take out the trash yesterday. And I'm like, you're not paying me anymore. Like, that's, if I want to take out the trash, I will. But regardless, let's get into some pop culture news before we get into this recap, just so we can say we did a little something besides the recap. I always like to go on TMZ and Daily Mail, and it's just, it relaxes me. It calms me. It's my visual melatonin. Ben and Jen now 2 days strong, you guys. This is, I mean, it's huge. This is interesting though. They got married in Vegas, but they're going to have a huge wedding party in Georgia. Now get this, TMZ is reporting that Ben and Jen wedding venue from 20 years ago, remember they were going to get married 20 years ago, they had picked out this wedding venue and now it's going to serve as a spot for friends and family. How do you think they put a deposit down 20 years ago and they're finally, they're like, "Oh, we can't give you your money back, but we'll use it as a, like, if you get married again, you'll be able to use it," thinking that they would never use it again. And now here they are 20 years later, they're using it again. So they're getting married at, wait, why does Ben has an 87-acre property outside Savannah, Georgia? Oh, so it's Ben's. I wonder if Ben's charging Jen to use the property. You know how Trump used to do that with the Secret Service and the Trump hotels? He would charge them like beyond full price. I wonder if Ben is charging Ben and Jen, the corporation, to hold the big party there. But anyways, 87 acres. Wow. So they're going to have a party at this place. The property is about an hour drive from Savannah, features several homes on this property, including a 10,000 square foot main house and a smaller 6,000 square foot home. So there's plenty of bedroom for guests. Jennifer released a statement shortly after they broke the wedding news saying, "We did it. Love is beautiful. Love is kind, blah, blah, blah." So that'll be fun. I don't know if So Bad It's Good should send some people down to do, what if we did man on the street outside of Ben and Jen's wedding, or just me standing out there with like a sign, like a Subway sandwich cardboard flipper of like, "We, like, love is patient, love is kind." No, I'm excited. That'll be the party of the century. Now, in sad news, for every couple that gets married, there's a couple that breaks up. And this is sad because I don't know these people personally, but a lot of people seem to truly have supported them as a couple. Or I read a lot of stuff online about how excited people are that they were together, which is so interesting for me because I don't know, like, when is the last time you guys have been excited for something? Like, you're like, "Oh, that's so cute. They really excite me." Like, I'm trying to think of I was around when like Brad Pitt and Jennifer Aniston were together, and then Brad and Angelina. And I mean, those were exciting. And I just don't know if I have it in me to get worked up anymore. But Chelsea Handler and the comedian Joe Coy, they split after a year of dating. And this is wild because they released they released like full statements that almost seem like they're more in love than like the way that Chelsea Handler writes about Joe Coy makes me think of like, well, if you're writing this sweet of things about this dude, why don't you just stay with him? So she announced this, which is, that's what you got to do. You got to announce relationships on Instagram. That's how you know it's a real relationship. If you announce it on Twitter, it just means it's a trash can fire relationship. So Chelsea, you guys, I'm trying to find the exact so now I'm actually getting lost. Okay, here goes. In anticipation of celebrating our first year together, Joe and I recorded this video early. But as many of you have noticed, it is with a heavy heart to announce that we have decided together that it is best for us to take a break from our relationship right now. Okay, so you're like, oh, right now, maybe it's like Devin Booker and Kendall Jenner. I know that's a horrible comparison, but remember they took a break like a month and a half ago, and supposedly now they're back on. So I was like, okay, for now, maybe it's going to be on in the future. Then I kept reading. I know many of you were invested in our love, and I wanted to express to you how much that meant to both of us, how much it still means, and how much I now believe in love for each one of us. Now, that's the point where I was like, oh, now I'm kind of thinking Chelsea was the one that broke up, because she says break from our relationship right now. But in the second paragraph, she says, and how much I now believe in love for each one of us. Does she mean all of us as a nation, like me, you, everybody, or does she mean her and Joe? And I read it as her and Joe, which means like she's already like, Joe, your true love's out there. Me too, which is never what you want to hear from a girl. You never want to hear, I hope you wind up with somebody fitting as you deserve because you're amazing. That's always like the kiss of death. Then she goes, this man blew my heart open with love. And because of him, my life experience has changed forever. To be loved and adored by @Joe Coy has been one of the greatest gifts of my life. He renewed my faith in men, in love, in being 100% who I am. And I've never been more optimistic for the future. Now, this is all amazing, but as a guy that is very insecure and somebody that just possible, like I'm the narcissistic, all of that stuff. Would you hate to be this guy, Joe, where Chelsea writes in your breakup, you renewed my faith in men, in love, and being 100% who I am? I don't want to renew your faith in men. Now it just means you're going to go with another guy after I taught you how to love again? Like, what does that mean? And then she addresses Joe directly, even though we can all see it. It says, Joe, you blew my creativity open, my lust for working hard again, being on the road again, and you reminded me who I was and always have been, and my feet have never been more firmly planted in the ground. Now, as a negative person, I'm reading that as, but now you've made me realize how amazing I am and have always been, but I do not want to share any of that with you. And I love that she like, you inspired me to work 24/7. Like my lust for working hard again. Like if I was in a relationship with you and you're like, you make me want to work completely 24/7 where I do not need to see you and spend time with you. And then she goes, this is not an ending. It's another beginning. Yeah, it's another beginning of you possibly being with another dude. I don't want that. And it's a comfort to know that I am still loved and love this man the way the sun loves the moon and the moon loves the sun. Now, this is a complete rumor. I heard the sun did love the moon, but then the moon completely cheated on the sun. And now I heard the sun hates the moon. That's just, I read that in the Daily Mail. And then she writes, this is the worst. She writes, your person is coming. Does she mean us or does she mean Joe? Like Joe, like, wouldn't you hate the breakup letter for everybody? And she's got like, how many followers she got? She got like 4.6 million people. So it's like 4.6 million people you're telling of like, yo, Joe, it's not me, but I know your person is coming and you know I mean it because that part's in all caps. She goes, so please continue to root for both of us because you never know what life will bring. And let's first start by all going to the theater August 5th to buy tickets to Joe's new movie, Easter Sunday and Filipino Pride. Let's go. So we got a plug in there for Joe's movie, which is great. But continue to root for both of us. Now, I feel like, are you aware every day of who you root for? A lot for me, it's like family and friends. But like, do I have any, like, do you guys actively root for Chelsea Handler and Joe Coy? Like at night, if you do your prayer, are you like, Dear God, please watch after Joe Coy and Chelsea Handler. Let their love flourish and continue to grow like a bright burning sun, almost like the sun loving the moon. Like, you know what I'm saying? I want this to, I don't know. And so I didn't even listen. There's a message they put along with it. And what does it say here? Well, oh man, this is dark. Let's see.
Together, and we're honey, what have you learned in the last year being in a relationship with your lover?
That it's fun to be in love and always be in the moment.
Oh yeah, well you're the one who taught me to always be in the moment, honey. Yeah. because you can't.
Are you okay? Oh shit. Are you okay?
You too, right here.
Oh babe. Move your hand. It's okay. It's okay. Oh my God.
Okay, so they made a video, you guys, celebrating their 1 year anniversary and then broke up. What is going? Does anybody have information on this? Please email me at SoBadIt'sGood with Ryan Bailey, or you can follow me on Instagram. But now I am so invested in this, and I really wasn't even that invested in either of them to begin with. No offense to them. I hear they're amazing, but my God, what happened? Does anybody have the dirt? Okay. So the next news story, it's a lighter story, if you will, but a very inspirational story as well. This is from People magazine. Kim Kardashian says she hates her wrinkly hands, but reveals sweet reason she embraces them. And of course, the sweet reason is because it holds Pete Davidson's penis. And I don't think, let's read it together. So it says, Kim Kardashian is sharing. This is what I love. Like People, Us Weekly, they're just always needing to create content. So they'll take articles from magazines. Like this is about her Allure August 2022 issue. And they have to make like little pieces of content out of it. So you get articles like this where you're like, wait, this is an article about how Kim hates her wrinkly hands, but there's a sweet reason behind it. And when I hear wrinkly hands, I think Kyle Richards. I'm joking. Okay, so she, in this article, which by the way, heavy hitting article, if she's talking about her wrinkly hands, she says, I hate my hands. They're wrinkly and gross, she admitted. Brave. But I've lived life and I've changed so many diapers with these hands, and I've snuggled my baby with these hands, so I'm okay with them. That's a very sweet reason. But also, and I've signed the paychecks of all the housekeepers that are in charge of my kids. I've signed those checks. Ah, yes. She lets us in on her busy schedule with the kids. She drops the kids off at school, and then on my car ride home, I listen to the music that I want to listen to. And that's good for my mental health. What do you think she listens? I mean, do you think she listens to whatever Pete tells her to listen to now? And do you think she listens to Kanye still? She goes, I have a minute alone without making phone calls, and that's when I recharge. Can you imagine the minute where Kim recharges? Is she just like, is she like actively going, I'm recharging like a robot? She says, my workout is before drop off. I get up at 5:30 and my workout is 6 to 7. Kids are up at 7:05 a.m. Man, this is like the army. Really rare that I can get in my room and lock the door and say, I need 20 minutes. But guys, this is deep. Now, if you need to take a second to get a pen and paper, I want you to write this part down. Kim Kardashian says, but the chaos is also the beauty. Wow. And that's why I love my moments in the morning before everyone wakes up. I can go outside and work out and take a breather, an hour to myself, if you will. Even if it's with a trainer or whatever, I still feel like it's by myself. Listen, I feel like we're going to get an article pretty soon about Kim's like bowel movements. It's my time to rest and recharge on the old toilet. I feel like there's so much shit that happened this weekend. You had the Tristan Thompson, the Ben and Jen, that were kind of in this Tuesday doldrums of pop culture stories where it's not, you got some wrinkly hand People magazine articles. That's not that big of a deal. Here's another great one I noticed from Us Weekly, not People. Us was like, hey, we want to write a bland article about the Kardashians too. So here's one over on Us. It says Khloe Kardashian subtly reacts to Tristan Thompson holding hands with the mystery woman. So subtly, let's see how Khloe subtly reacted to this, because we know she didn't really give it to him at all in terms of a big reaction. So this article is written, it says a subtle response period. Khloe Kardashian let her feelings about her ex-boyfriend Tristan Thompson's current love life and his rumored new girlfriend be known with a simple social media move. And then the quote is, to everyone that's freaking out about this video of Tristan in Greece with another girl, Khloe and Tristan are both single. And according to the statement from Khloe's rep, they haven't spoken since December besides co-parenting. Kardashian fan account at Kardashian Social shared via Instagram alongside the Bulls player and Mykonos, blah, blah, blah. This account says, so I don't know why it would be crazy for Tristan to be with another girl, as long as he's a good dad to his baby, which we don't know when Khloe's surrogate is due. Kardashian Social just schooled us, you guys. Okay, but it gets better. So you're like, well, but how did Khloe subtly shade Tristan? This is great. I'm going to answer that right now. Khloe liked the post. Oh, check that out. Khloe liked it. So that is the subtle shade we're talking about, is that Khloe went click with her little thumb and liked it. And that is what Us Weekly is calling subtle shade. That's amazing. And I bet, there was like a team of 20 that helped Khloe with that. So she's like, I want to show people that I don't care, but I want to subtly shade Tristan. And they're like, what if you liked at Kardashian Social's post that tells all of us to leave Tristan alone? Now, also on that same tip is what I kind of been saying of like, as long as he's a good dad, which we don't know since the baby's not come yet, but we do know that his son with Marley Nichols, he still has not met yet. And according to a month and a half ago, still had not paid child support. So right there, are we allowed to say, well, that doesn't sound like a good dad to me? I mean, listen, I don't have any kids yet, but that doesn't sound amazing. So are we to say like, Tristan's only good to the famous kids, like ugh. But once again, you guys, we're to blame. We are the ones to blame for all of the Kardashians' problems. And even better news than that, you guys, Justin Bieber, you know him, you love him. He resumes his Justice World Tour. Remember, he had to stop his tour because he had Ramsay Hunt syndrome that like froze half of his face, which I was like, dude, 50% of Justin Bieber's face is still better than 100% of my face. But he was like, I can't tour with Ramsay Hunt syndrome, which I was like, Ramsay Hunt syndrome sounds like an opening act on your tour. But he is now going to be hitting South America, South Africa, the Middle East, Asia, Australia, New Zealand, and then circling back to Europe. His team says he is making great progress. And we saw him soaking up some R&R with Haley. I mean, wouldn't you just love, like, I would love to, I have a feeling it would be the most boring documentary in the world to watch their day-to-day existence. And I don't mean that as a bad thing. I think they genuinely love each other. So I would love to see how mundane it is. And sometimes you get the sense that Hailey Bieber's full-time job is taking care of Justin Bieber. And I don't mean that in a bad, negative way. It just really, truly, like, she's there to make sure he's okay. So obviously she did her job well, because he's going to be back on the road. Do you guys got tickets to the old Biebs? Is he, I think he's still a big deal, right? Yeah. He's big. Let's see here. There's Daily Mail now. I'm hitting way too many Kardashian stories. Oh, Brad Pitt is on the red carpet of his Bullet Train premiere. That's his new movie, Bullet Train. And he's wearing like a brown skirt, like a very Harry Styles look. And I got to tell you, this guy can pull off anything. But more importantly, I said on this podcast months ago that I hope for men, they're bringing skirts into a way that men can wear them freely, because I hate putting on jeans. I got thick thighs and I just don't love it. But if I could get into a skirt, like a manly skirt, like something old, like if Old Navy will start selling men's skirts, and this is what we need. We need people like Brad Pitt to really kind of get it back into fashion. This is what we need, is this guy. Maybe Justin could wear it on his tour, but I'm hoping by the end of summer, I'm in like full skirts nonstop, because it would just be so much easier in so many ways. True Lies, Tom Arnold, 63, reveals that he lost 75 pounds in 6 months after suffering from a mini stroke. So that's all it takes for me to lose weight. I've got to suffer a mini stroke. Count me in. Like it's just a mini. Like a mini's not even a maxi. A mini stroke for 75 pounds down. Hell yeah, I'm in, Tom. He also cannot talk or move his mouth. No, he's fine, he says. Let's see. Tom Cruise is back in the news because Top Gun Maverick has hit over $1.2 billion. It's Paramount's top grossing film of all time. But now Tom Cruise is back in fashion. He's over in London and he's getting photographed everywhere. You see him in a new bicep shirt every day. And you're just like, good for you, Tom. He's 60. He looks great for 60. And also shout out to the people that let me know Tom Cruise had dissolved the fillers in his face. Remember? Like over COVID, he was starting to look like a chipmunk because he had put too much. He looked like a happy chipmunk, but a chipmunk nonetheless. And he finally removed the filler, and now he looks like a really handsome 60. I mean, he doesn't look 60. I look older than Tom Cruise. This dude looks great, and he's always wearing these tight shirts so his bicep shows. And I mean, good. I guess good for him, right? We want that. Let's see. Any other news we got? I think we're good. Let's get to the let's get to the southern. Oh, wait, this is actually good. Texas State University, you guys. And you're like, oh, don't bring up Texas, but this is something good Texas is doing. Texas State University will offer a Harry Styles course next year. That's right. You're going to be able to spend a whole semester learning about pop superstar Harry Styles. Imagine failing a Harry Styles course. You're like, oh my God, I totally failed the Harry's House pop quiz. Yeah, the course, which will be offered via the Department of History starting in the 2023 spring semester, is titled Harry Styles and the Cult of Celebrity. Ooh, Identity, the Internet, and European Pop Culture. It'll be offered first to honors students at the university, followed by non-honors. Wait, only honors students can take that? You got to be pretty smart to take the Harry Styles course. Hey, why don't you take shitbag? What's that? Like Liam? Not you can take non-honor students can take the Zayn Malik course. I'm kidding, Zaniacs, calm down. But this is kind of shit. Like when I went to Arizona State University, the Harvard of the West, I took a Beatles course. And I got to tell you, I'll be honest with you folks. I did not go to one class and I got A+. I aced that class because my dad, I grew up with an appreciation for the Beatles. So my laziness and then my knowledge due to osmosis through my dad's passions gave me one of the best college experiences I ever had, which was like me just laying horizontally in a bed during that class, kind of like Paige DeSorbo on any of the reality shows she's in. So very exciting over there. Maritza, who does all our graphics and produces the videos and all, I mean, amazing. She just sent me, she's sending me articles about Megan Fox nails and Kim Kardashian's wedding ring. She's telling me about the Kim Kardashian old hands, and she's making dirty jokes about Pete. Oh, also, she just sent me call her daddy. Alexandra Cooper is she's interviewing surviving an abusive relationship featuring Audrina Partridge. So good for you. I love that, man. That call her daddy girl literally made $60 million of Spotify, and she does 45-minute to an hour episode a week. And listen, she does it really good, and like it's all edited and fancy and all that, but $60 million? Could you imagine, folks? We're in the wrong business. No, I'm actually in that business. I just am not. I need to get a blonde wig or something. I need something exciting needs to happen. Okay. Are you guys ready for the excitement of a little show I call, let me give you a hint, Ba-ba-doo, ba-ba-dee-dee-dee, it's easy. Ooh, that's Mia Sable's song of Southern Charm. Now, two judgy girls, me and Ronnie were talking about this on Friday's episode of Watch What Crappens, because I had this theory. I was like, is it you or me that it does seem like these lyrics keep, like there seems to be new lyrics all the time, and are they going to get like really specific of like, Shep, you owe money on your Discover card, like those kind of lyrics. And I guess two judgy girls, Courtney and Summer Mary, you guys know them. They DM'd with Mia Sable, the artist. She's like Prince to me. She DM'd with Mia, or they did, and I think asked the same question that we did, and says, they wrote, Mia, love your work. Wondering how often you record the Southern Charm theme song and its iterations. And she says, hey, thanks. It's actually just one recording that they remix. We create something called stems that when I make songs, and it's all the pieces of the song separately so they can be remixed. which is just amazing to think about. Like, what if there's like a billion stems to the Southern Charm? Oh, yeah, Bop-a-doo. Bop-a-dee. Also, how often, like, all of us pods are like recapping the same ones. Is this okay? Or is it like a butterfly, like a snowflake or a butterfly? It all is like they all have different wings and you know, each snowflake is beautiful. Is that the kind of, what do you guys, what do you guys like? Hey, what do you guys like in your recaps? You guys like silly recaps? What do you guys like? Okay, so we are in okay, so wait one sec. I lost you guys. You don't know how hard it is. I take notes on all these shows and then I don't label the notes. And so then I go to talk to you guys and I have to go through all of these notes. And then I just see random notes like pack dad's shirt, which was because I saw my parents and I forgot that. Dude, do you ever worry at the end of your life you're going to see all of the stupid notes you jotted to yourself that you forgot where they were? And you're like, oh my God, I should have remembered to do that. Like, it's just a string of things that I forget at this point. And then you see them, you know, you'll be doing a podcast and then you'll see the note and go, oh my God, I can't believe I forgot that. Why didn't I write a note? Well, you did, you just didn't look at the note. I think if you're joining me for the first time, you realize I'm having what we call a nervous breakdown, folks. It's so fun to have, and it's where I panic and internally scream for a couple hours during the show. And that's why I really do the show, because if I didn't do the podcast, I would only be internally screaming in my head. And that's why I like to get it out. I like to put it out there to the public, and everybody can have a good old time with it. So this episode is episode number 4, you guys. Yeah, they've made 4 episodes this season so far. The 5th one will be Thursday night, and I believe, knock on whatever this desk is made out of, I'm going to be interviewing somebody from Southern Charm tomorrow. Bop-a-doo. And this title is called "It's My Party, and I'll Fight If I Want to." And you know, and I know that these titles provide one of the great this is like think of it like a great mystery of life. And the title of these episodes provide us a clue, if you will, into what we're going to see that night. So I think this is like, it's my party and I'll cry if I want to. It's a takeoff of that song. And so I'm like, who's having a party? Well, if you pay attention to the show and not on your phone the whole time, you'll remember that, let's see who, Venita, like Venita and Madison are having a joint birthday party. So I'm like, okay, it's my party is going to be that party. And there means there's going to be a fight. So it's all very exciting. So the other thing that Bravo does is they'll give a show description to the cable company. So if you're not a Southern Charm fan, never watched it before, you can be flipping through your TV and you'll be like, what's this Southern Charm? It's my party and I'll fight if I want to. Let me find a little bit more information about that and see if I want to watch it. And this is the description they give. It says, Austen gets emotional. And by the way, what if it just Austen gets emotional, period? No, Austen gets emotional when he learns his parents are selling his childhood home. Pussy. Chleb or Caleb or Chubbs, however you want to call it. We say it Caleb, but it's spelled Chleb because they hate us. Chleb leans on his cousin for support in the wake of his breaking with Kathryn. That they broke up at the end of last week's episode. Remember, you guys, with the sad meatballs? They're like, oh, don't eat me. Shep's past comes back to haunt him, which really could mean anything. Like, I was like, was Shep and Naom? Like, Shep's past, did he kill a hobo? What did he do? Shep's past comes back to haunt him when Taylor voices her concerns for their future. Like, in my dream of dreams, when I read that, I was like, oh my God, what if Shep has a 16-year-old son he's never met? And like a new stranger kid comes to town. He's like, you're my dad. And Shep's like, what? Yeah, you hooked up with my mom in Thailand. He's like, are you kidding me? Unfortunately, that is not what happens. That's not what we're voicing the concern about. So, previously on Southern Charm, and previously on Southern Charm is just so amazing. With all Bravo shows, they treat us like idiots, and we see little clips of all the scenes that we've already seen so many times. We're flashback happy. It's just all these little things because they think they need to let us know. Like they're like, oh my God, these guys are such idiots. They're not going to remember where we left off last week. We're not going to remember that Kathryn and Chubbs broke up, So Naomie is doing the voiceovers in the beginning, like, well, and the music's like, times have changed, don't you know? Don't you know? And then Naomie's like, Madison dropped big news on her Amazon Live after Olivia struggled to make friendships at my party. And she's like, I felt bad. I saw her get attacked. Craig and Austen make up. And Caleb and Kathryn did not get there happily ever after. And then we have the song go, it's easy making you think you love me. Oh, and then we cut to opening and we're in Southern Charm. It's very exciting. There we see bridges, water, houses. They're like, boop, 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 boop. And we're with Venita, who is putting on makeup. And somebody's with her and like, damn girl, you look good today. Then we cut over to Olivia, the new girl. She's filling up a bathtub and you're like, oh my God. Oh, that's amazing. She's taking a bath. Hey, Olivia loves to clean herself. But it turns out, you guys, she's washing her dog or she's watching her parents' dog. Who knows? We know that there's a dog there. We don't even, maybe it got rented for the shoot, but Olivia is going to be washing that dog. Then we cut to Kathryn making Halloween decorations, I think. And she's like, I'll give you a star and the googly eyes. Oh, I broke my nail on the googly eyes because these stickly things. And I got to tell you, we don't see any kids in this shot. So I know she has 2 kids, but we're like, usually she should be like, I'm making these googly eye things. Kids, are you ready to make crafts? But there's no kids. So I'm just like, does Kathryn just make crafts? Like, is this her like, oh, it relaxes me putting googly eyes on things. We cut to Austen in the kitchen FaceTiming his parents. And he props up his phone like on like some kind of stupid breadbasket or something. And then it immediately drops because Austen's a fucking Charlie Brown loser. And he's like, oh man. And the mom and dad are like, hey, Austen, how you doing? And he's like, when are you guys moving to Seabrook? And he goes, my folks decided to move 40 minutes outside Charleston. They're selling my childhood home. And he's like, hey guys, I'm going to come up and grab some things and help. And then Austen at a talking head's like, I get daily phone calls from my dad. Like, hey, I found this old leather glove you used to beat off into. And mom is saying, Austen, we saved all these things from when you were a little kid. You can't throw that stuff out. And then Austen's like, it's making me sad. Like, goodbye to my home, that me and my sister grew up in. And where I went to high school, where my first kiss was, my first finger blast, my first fish concert. He goes, I remember sneaking out at night, and like, I don't think my childhood home will mean anything to me after that. I don't know. He's just being like crybaby Austen, like he does. We see pics of young Austen, and it really does. It's like that old, what is that saying? Like, it gets better. Like it really did for Austen. Like he sprung up, still awkward, but I think, genuinely, to Austen's credit, a lot of girls find him good looking. And I don't even know if it's good looking. They always just tell me tall. I'm like, okay, but give me more than that. There's got to be more. He's like, he's really tall. And I'm like, you just said really tall. That's it. But girls really love him, man. So in a talking head, though, I also want to point out with this talking head, Austen once again has really bad makeup done in it. So he looks like just wide-eyed, and the rest of his skin is like a reddish, and he's kind of tearing up. He's having a bad season. And he's like, where am I going to spend Christmas now? And mom goes, hey, by the way, I just saw Madison's engagement on Amazon. But by the way, I was just on Amazon Live and saw Madison's engagement. How you feeling? And Austen's like, I feel sorry for that poor son of a bitch. And the mom's like, well, I wish her well, but I'm very happy you put that in your rear view mirror. Now we cut over to Patricia's house, Miss Patricia, and she's like, it's champagne hour. Remind me to get the glasses. And Michael, remember, we love Michael, the butler, the manservant. He has unfortunately had a spinal stroke. So Whitney is taking care of Miss Patricia in the butler role. So it is hijinks ensuing every day. And he's like, oh my God, mom, this whole thing is a mess in here. And we like to see glassware everywhere. It really truly looks like a fancier version of Hoarders. And she's like, without Michael, I just don't pay attention. Our supplies are dwindling. She goes, Venita and Madison are going to come over for a drink. But right now, I could be happy with some champagne, Whitney. I'd be happy with a glass I like. And Whitney's like kind of fudging around for glasses. Like, I love they have all this set of fancy glasses that are like so expensive. And in mine, I have like McDonald's Batman Forever, like thirst buster glasses and shit like that. So Whitney's like, I should have clearly been a bartender in my other life. And she's like, just give me the bottle. The producer asked Patricia, how does Whitney fare as a bartender? And she goes, let's just say we're a little more casual now. And then it's just shots of body shots of Patricia doing them off Whitney. And we do a flashback to, to the proper way to make a martini. And Michael, the old butler, knew how to do it. He was using like a mallet and he was banging things with like a cloth over the ice. And like, I love a good martini, and just this made me sad. And like, I was just like, damn. She's like, Michael's got the right martini touch. You're not supposed to fill the glass all the way to the top. What she's telling Whitney is Whitney's pouring the champagne, but I'll make an exception. Madison comes in and she goes, oh, look how pretty you look, to Madison. And Madison, what do what girls do? You go, no, you're pretty. And then we spend the next 40 minutes telling each other we're pretty. Patricia says, well, all the women in this town make an effort. And, every time I see you is in an old gray shirt, Whitney. I do like if Patricia kind of casually makes, oh, Whitney, you piece of shit. Look at you. You haven't changed your underwear in a week. You got old Snicker stains down there. Your little fudge stains, little burnout tire tracks on your undies, Whitney. Oh, you're a dirty boy. Right, Madison? And Whitney's like, who cares how I look around the house, Mom? It's like, I do. And then Venita comes in. And Miss Patricia's like, here comes the beauty. And look how beautiful these two women are. And she's kind of saying it to Whitney. And I'm almost like, look how beautiful these two women are. Would you like to give one a little kiss, Whitney? Come on. And Whitney's like, good to see you guys. He's like, I'm now the new Michael. Madison says, well, where's your apron? And she goes, oh, an apron would cover up his ugly gray shirt, this piece of shit, this dumb piece of shit. And so Whitney's like, okay, have fun, Mom. And then Miss Patricia's like, I hear you're engaged. And she's like, that's right. Oh, let's see that ring. Nice and big. BDE. And she goes, I knew I was going to lock down Brett as soon as I looked at him in Scottsdale, Arizona. He had the kindest eyes. Once again, this is bullshit. It's like telling like when hot guys are supposedly funny, kind eyes. Like this dude's like a model, and she's like, oh, he was so ugly, but he had kind eyes, and I was drawn to him. It's like, no, he was a hot dude. And then maybe you notice somewhere along the line of, oh, I guess he's got nice eyes. I can kind of tell that to people so they don't just think I'm dating a brick. And Venita's like, I knew you guys are going to get engaged. And Madison's like, he planned it with my son, Hudson. Very sweet. And Madison goes, my mom always said, when you know. Is that the most normal bullshit? Like, we always hear that for like, did your mom, like, my mom always said, don't wear white after Labor Day. Like, my mom always said, when you know, like, duh, we've heard that so many times. How is that new advice? It would be like, oh yeah, Mom, I've heard that a billion times. Patricia says, I got married after 3 months, and I'm talking married, not engaged. And they're like, who? And she goes, which one? Madison says, well, anyways, we're having a joint party in this house in the Battery. It's going to be super girly, pink florals. We're going to go down on each other, the whole thing. And she goes, oh, you know what? That Dolce & Gabbana, that pussy dress I have, where else can you wear a kitten dress to a cat fight? Just let her talk, man. Madison says, I'm in a different headspace. I don't want any drama at my party. And Venita says, you mean my party? And Madison goes, true test of friendship. And then Madison just pushes Venita. No, we cut to Shep skateboarding, you guys, longboarding, while Madison bikes. So he's holding on to Madison's little, just like a 6-year-old to his parent. But he's like, go faster, Madison, do it. I'm slowing down, please. I told Ronnie that he just always seems like he's like Tom Hanks in the movie Big. Like he's like, oh, I put on my big boy pants. They board to this bar, because that's what they do. And it feels like this guy just has this life where he's like, oh, later on, do you want to get the longboard and have dinner in town? And then they just like skateboard to the town, So she goes, please don't pull out my chair, weirdo. I know it's date night, but don't worry. And then she goes, the table looks barren, not as barren as my ovaries. And I'm like, what? Did Taylor just make a barren ovary joke? Like after they longboarded? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like they just longboarded. And now she's like, you know what? You know what's a funny joke to start the meal? If I say that this table is as barren as my ovaries. And then Shep's like, come on, you aren't barren. You had a scare, but we're out of the woods. And then he goes to high five her and she's like, you're going to give me a high five to my pain and misery? And Taylor's like, what do you think it does for me? I mean, you know, seeing you do this stuff, I was the one that went through this. And he was like, I was trying to figure out how to change my life drastically. In a talking head, Shep goes, just shoot me right between the eyes and see where it goes. I love that Shep literally goes, just kill me. I want to die. If she turned out to be pregnant, I want you, if you see me, I want you to shoot me between the eyes. And he's like, it's terrifying. You know, it is downright terrifying is what it is. And Taylor's like, I feel like you're being a little flippant about my emotions. And she's like, and he's like, you didn't even ask how I felt, like the scare that you put me through. He says that to, like, shit says that to Taylor. And I was like, this has got to be a joke, right? Like, there's no way he's really saying this. And Taylor says, well, I mean, you can trust me to be here and be faithful and be supportive. And I will do that. And Shep's like, well, where do you think I'm going? And then we get a flashback to the reunions where Andy's like, well, you've been known to, have a couple slip ups in terms of cheating. And Shep's like, well, come on, man. Yeah, no. There was some text messages with an old flame. There was a kiss in a stairwell, the orgy in the Hamptons. Then, of course, that one time with the 7-Eleven attendant, all of BravoCon. He just keeps going. And Craig and the clip, remember Drunken Craig from the reunion? He's like, I'd break up with you, man. And so we're back in this scene. They get soup and soft shell crab, and they, the whole, ooh, look at the food. It looks amazing. The wonderment of food. And Shep's like, apparently I'm not a safe bet, I guess. Like, so now it's like the ballad of the man. And Taylor's like, I think you're kind of not. And Shep's like, that's really mean. In a talking heads, Taylor says, if I was pregnant, I would take the proper steps, which would be marriage. And I don't know if he would step up to the bat, which is just really shitty. But at the same time, in Shep's defense, which I can't believe I'm saying this, is that has Shep ever gave any of us any kind of like he would be there? Like I feel like we all would expect kind of this behavior out of Shep. So I'm not expecting Shep to be there if I get pregnant all of a sudden. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think he's ever. So Taylor's like, I don't know if he'd step up to bat. And I'm like, yeah, like, that. So you're still there though. I mean, I hate to put the impetus or the onus on the woman, but if he's given you all of these signals, not like saying it point blank, but you know what I'm saying? And Taylor goes, you said it yourself. You don't want to get married and settle down. And Shep says, the minute you start telling me to do something, I'll do the exact opposite, which if I was Taylor, then I would be like, okay, never marry me. Don't ever get me pregnant. Because then Shep, by his logic, would be like, I need to no longer use condoms ever again. So Taylor says, well, that's what scares me. And Shep goes, but I want you. But Shep said, like, I want you, kind of like he wanted the soft shell crab. Like, oh, that looks good. Taylor goes, but what if I want things later in life? I probably will. And then Shep goes, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. And I wonder if he's picturing that crossing on the longboard. Like, oh, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it, if you're pushing me along on my longboard. New scene, which, by the way, we had a preview for Below Deck Med. And I really love their new slogan is get Medi for Below Deck Med instead of ready, like get Medi. Like sometimes I feel like all the good ideas might have been taken already. Anyways, so we come back from commercials, horses, we see, I don't know, a heart, a table for two. Olivia is starting with a Sauvignon Blanc. Kathryn walks in and Olivia's like, hey, you sexy. I want a whole show of just women's pleasantries to each other where they see each other's outfits and they're like, girl, slay. And Olivia's like, oh, it smells like sushi. I've been craving sushi since I left LA. Doesn't it sound bomb? And I love that in Southern Charmland, sushi is kind of like a foreign entity. It's like this, like, oh, I've read the sea scrolls about the sushi. Yes, yeah. But Kathryn truly doesn't understand what sushi is. I think she's like, oh, what's the and mommy? Is that the little beanies? And then she orders shrimp tempura, but she calls it shrimp temporal. And I'm like, shrimp temporal, that sounds good. Olivia once again goes, you look very sexy. And Kathryn's like, my boobs are a little big for this, but I went with it. Yeah. Thanks for being my date tonight. So Kathryn's like, I need some light, and you haven't been bitten by the plague, the Charleston bug yet. We get a flashback to Naomie talking to Olivia of like, I heard the intention was a peace offering and you saying you didn't want to be there. That whole fight between Naomie and Kathryn that Olivia, I guess, threw her 2 cents into. It to me is just really a non-starter, yet they keep talking about it, which is the cornerstone of all reality shows. Naomie saying, did you tell Kathryn that? It's bullshit. It's a flashback that we've already seen. Olivia says, Austen told me to take down the mean girl, she tells Kathryn. And Kathryn's like, look at you, smiling like, ooh, look at you, getting a text from Austen. And then Olivia goes, I'm attracted to him. Obviously, he's tall. So there again, guys, it's 2 separate things. Attractiveness is face. Tall is length. Do you guys understand what I'm saying? Like, ladies and dudes, like, there's a difference here. Can we at least agree on this? I'm not saying that, you can have an attractive face and be tall. I'm not saying it has to be one or the other, but don't go, yeah, I'm super attracted to him. Obviously, he's tall. Like, it's not the same thing. Those are 2 separate things. And Olivia's like, me and Austen, we're taking baby steps. And then Kathryn goes, oh, that's a homie. Kathryn goes, yeah, okay. And something about like men being wild horses, but lazy. And I love the thought of like, this is once again, like we praise men for the dumb, like, ooh, like all of a sudden Austen's a wild horse. Like, no, Austen's a fucking lazy mule. What are you talking about? Like he's a wild stallion ready to be tamed with a lot of fierce fight in him. Like, what? Are you out of your mind? Give me a break. So she's like, after my party, so sorry. Olivia asked about how things are going with Chubbs or Caleb. And Kathryn's like, after my party, we got into a really big fight. He left for 6 days. I invited him over to dinner for sad meatballs and to tell him what I needed. And it didn't go over so well. And then we get a flashback of that where Caleb's like, you threw the kids like straight on me. And Kathryn's like, maybe you shouldn't be in a relationship then, which I kind of agree with Kathryn. And then Kathryn's like, this isn't working, Chubbs. And he's like, shit. And she's like, so I broke up with Caleb. And Olivia's like, oh my God. And she's like, I know. In a talking head, Kathryn goes, at this point in my life, I'm looking for a forever person. The person looking at the big picture, the 5-year plan, the 10-year plan, the 11-year plan, the 13-year-old plan, the 18-year-old plan. Yeah, it's all these plans. Does anybody have these 5 and 10-year? I think we always just say we have these like, oh, the 5-year plan, the 10-year plan, but I don't really truly think these exist. I mean, I love everybody at home is like, they absolutely do exist, you idiot. Like, truly they exist. I'm worried about you. Olivia's like, yeah, you just got that place together, you and Chubbs. And she's like, I want someone who supports me. He's an athlete. He does not deal with his emotions. Athletes are always a machine. And I'm like, okay, but like they still, I mean, I love the thought of athletes getting their emotions beaten out of them, which is a kind of a fascinating thing because now I don't want them to break up. Now I want a whole season of Kathryn trying to get emotions out of Chubbs, like ignore your training, Chubbs. Ignore your football training. Give me one tear. Give me one tear down that beautiful cheekbone of yours, Chubbs. We cut to fiddle music, like sad, like ding, 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 ding. And Caleb's at his cousin's house, Chelsea. He's like, yeah, man, I appreciate the last couple of days you let me be here. And they're pouring like moonshine or something. He's like, oh, we're drinking this straight up. And they're like, damn, boy, drinking it. And they're like, is this 1,000 proof? And then Chubbs dies. No. Chelsea goes, I had to hit you right, which I love. That's what I like. I love when one of my bros hits me with a White Claw. And I'm like, oh, you had to hit me right, man. so Chubbs is like, I'm cornered. I'm concerned for my damn self. You know, I didn't talk to Kathryn today or yesterday, and she's in my head. And Chelsea's like, how long you guys dated? A year? You know? And Chelsea's like, man, that's heavy. And Chubbs is like, I'm so confused. In a talking head, he goes, when we first started dating, everything was happy. I felt like I was, you know, we were like romantic, and I miss her warmth, her hugging, her kissing. I mean, I love her. I like that. I was like, I miss her warmth, her hugging, her big old bitties. Like, I was like, oh, are we gonna get specific? He goes, I don't want to break it off the way we broke it off. When I talk to her, I have a hard time showing my emotions. And I was like, oh no, is this like, because I'm an athlete. She wants me to have a sad face, and I don't have it in me to have a sad face. I do care, but I don't know how to share this emotion. And Chelsea goes, is it worth it? And then Chubbs goes, that's what I'm saying. Okay, but is it? Like, we don't even answer. Like, but okay, cool. I'm glad we're on the same page with what we're saying, but what is the answer? Like, I love scenes that just like, yep. Uh-huh. You know it. Ain't that right? Like, okay, but answer, like, what is it? Are you going to go try to get her back? Like, what are we doing? What's the plan here? Next scene, it's Madison and Venita, and Madison is saying, oh, I'm good, Venita. I'm working on crafts with my kids. And oh, sorry. This is actually Kathryn talking on the phone with Madison. And Madison's like, I haven't picked Hudson's Halloween costume. He's into horror now. I wanted him to be a little elephant, you know, and I called to see if you wanted to go to the garden party I'm hosting this weekend. Super girly, no boys, wear pink, blue. I'm not even worried what you're going to wear. And Kathryn says, I'm looking up pink dresses on Google. Does Venita want me to come? And Madison in a talking head says, Venita's issues will probably last for a while. So, Madison's like, but this is a joint party. She didn't ask me to bring whoever she wants to bring. And Madison goes, you know, what Venita told me is that she wants to start a clean slate with everyone. And then Madison goes, Kathryn, I was hoping you'd ask Olivia. I don't know her that well. And Kathryn's like, yeah, I love her. I'll absolutely tell her. And they're like, see you this weekend. Bye. And I'm like, oh, that's just going to be a whole mess. Like, that's just trouble. That really trouble. We cut to a sunrise, a sunset. We see a bridge, a big house, a golf range, and Austen gets out of his manly Jeep with his golf clubs. And you guessed it, folks, he's tall, taller than ever. And he sees his love man, Craig, and he's like, I haven't hit golf balls in so long, man. And Craig's like, that's why we're here on the range to practice. And then he's like, yo, hey, Craig, check out my kicks. Deion Sanders said, you look good, you play good. You play good, you pay good. And Craig goes, it's actually not the same, you fucking idiot. You look good, you feel good. You play good, they pay good. And then Austin's like, whatever, dude, kiss me. And then Craig's like, maybe I'll put it on a pillow, that Deion Sanders quote. Who do you think are buying your pillows, man? Shep asked, Craig goes, oh, Shep asked me to play the other day, so I played with Shep. And you can tell Austin's like, what? You play with Shep, not me? And then Austin's like switching to another tactic, and he's like, I have this huge meeting on Thursday with Harris Teeter in North Carolina, and I can increase production of Trop Pop 10 times. And Craig goes, that's exciting. And he seems totally bored. And then Austin's like, then I'm going to go to my folks' house in Charlotte because they sold it. And we got to say goodbye to my childhood home, which is insane. I need some emotional support to come back to Charlotte with me. And I need to help move some furniture. And Craig goes, moving furniture sucks. I'll help you. Craig says, look at both of us in healthy places. Everything's going well, getting our privates touched. And the relationship wise, I'm happy you're over your ex, Madison. You are, right? And Austin's like, Craig, what are you talking about? Of course. He goes, you are, right? And Austin's like, of course, Craig. And then Craig goes, because that was a terrible time for all of us. And then they go, yeah, but the new girl, Olivia, you know, she's cool. She's very cool, chill, and level-headed, Austen says. I think she's tall, you know, and like tall people, you know, go with the flow. Short people are like angry little demons. And I was like, dude, isn't Paige DeSorbo short? And then Craig goes, do you want to hang out with her? And he goes, I do want to hang out with Taylor. Oh, no, I do. We hang out a lot with Taylor and Shep. I don't want one-on-one time, and I'm keeping it that way. I don't want to fast track anything. I like that Austen doesn't trust himself. He's like, I need to be with other people, because if not, I'm going to do the old Austen where I try to get her naked and do the hippity dippity and then bail on her and then get her female friends to fight her because I've hooked up with them too. High five, down low, too slow. So then Craig's like, you getting any vibes from her? And Austen's like, yeah. Her vibes is she's confused as shit by me. And he thinks he's all like dope. He's like, I'm such a puzzle, dude. I'm a wild bucking bronco, dude. My vibes are just wild. Craig's like, I don't blame her if you're not ready. But if you're not ready to date her, just let her know. Maybe you'll get there someday. But I don't want to, just say I don't want to hold you back from living your life. And then Austen's like, should I text her? He's like, yeah. And then he goes, hey, with 3 Y's in the text. And then he's like, hey, with 3 Y's, that's weird. And Austen goes, hey, so I was thinking we should meet up tomorrow and grab a drink. And then Craig's like, don't do the so, because it's more affirmative. If you say so, let's get drinks tomorrow. If you say so, that makes it sound like unsure. And say, hey, I think we should get drinks tomorrow. And Austen goes, hey, I think we should get drinks tomorrow. That sounds weird. No, I said, hey, so we're going to get drinks tomorrow, Craig says. And then Austen's like, that's so presumptuous. Don't you think so clear your schedule? They go, oh, no, go. Oh, so clear your schedule. We're going to get drinks tomorrow. And Craig goes, I think that would be exciting as hell to receive. And you tell Austen makes a mental note to someday send Craig that exact text message. How exciting as hell is this, Craig? And then he goes, should I put period? And then Craig goes, no punctuations, please. And Austen's like, what? And then Craig goes, come on, pussy. Punctuations are worse than emojis. And then Austen's like, but what about 3 periods, ellipses? And like, that sounds not confident. Okay. Hey, so I think you should clear your schedule and we should day drink tomorrow. Ha, 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 ha. That's what they went with, you guys. And a dick pic. This is literally the worst Cyrano de Bergerac I've ever seen in my life. And then Austen goes, sent. That'll be great to see Olivia and get out of town for a second, Austen says. And Craig goes, yeah, tell her how you feel about her and run away. That's funny. And then we go, bah, 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 horn music. And we are now at Madison Venita's party. We see cellos being set up and violins, woodwinds. We see pretty glasses, flowers in the drinks, which I would not want flowers in my drink. Madison says, oh my God, this looks so good. Are y'all kidding me? She's greeted with a drink. This is perfect. Oh, Erica, are you kidding me? And Erica is like the party planner. And I got scared it was Erica Jane at first. I was like, oh my God, she would never work. And they're like, oh my God, Erica, you outdid yourself. I'm speechless. So it's like, okay, cocktail hour, then open the gates for everyone to do a celebration. And Madison's like, oh my God, I could cry. Now, Venita, the other birthday girl that's sharing the party, comes in. And she's like, oh my God, this looks so good. And Venita's like, I live for a good monogrammed moment, because there's like monogram on things, And all of a sudden, Venita sees Kathryn and Olivia markings on like the place settings. Like, oh, wait a sec. Because Venita doesn't know that Kathryn and Olivia were even invited. And Madison's like, oh, yeah, I told her to extend an invite to Olivia. I think it'll be good. Positive vibes. In a talking head, Venita goes, you know how I feel about both of them. Why would you invite them and not tell me? We get a flashback to 4 days ago where Venita is telling Madison, okay, my girlfriend such and such is coming. And Madison's like, oh, good. I can't wait to meet her. And we got Patricia, Lev, Naomie, Marcie, Taylor, Sarah. And Venita goes, me and you. And that's it. And then Venita's like, so whose side are you on here in a talking head? This reads to me like a producer setup, because it's all too convenient. Like the producer's like, okay, you got to call and invite him, but do not tell Venita so we can get a reaction. You can tell Venita is not happy about this. But she keeps, like, hey, let's just keep on going. She says Libra season is the best season to exist. But what made you invite Kathryn and Olivia? And Madison goes, well, I mean, I was invited to her party and, I don't really know Olivia that much, but I figured Kathryn would want her to be here. And then Madison goes, we can change that if you like, if you feel some sort of way. When you say, if you feel some sort of way, it doesn't really pump you full of respect that this person is like, yeah, whatever you need. So the day before the party in a talking head, oh yeah. because they were talking about, remember Madison's birthday party where the day before she disinvited Austen from the birthday party. And Venita points that out in a talking head, which that was actually a funny thing where Austen was like, well, why wasn't I even invited, Madison? Venita says Madison can push buttons and she knows how to do that very well. And Madison's like, well, anyways, I'm going to have fun regardless. And Madison says, it never crossed my mind. Venita says, it would never cross my mind that Madison would try to push my buttons. And they all cheers, happy birthday. Violins start playing. Marcie, Shep's cousin, comes in with Taylor, Shep's girlfriend. And they are presented with a glass of champagne. They look at Madison's ring. Venita's just kind of staring into space and, oh, how did he propose? And Venita's like, oh my God, like I haven't heard this story 500 times. She's like, oh, he proposed involving my son. And Marcie's like, I'm going to cry. Really? Like, is that all it takes? Like, we just cry about anything nowadays. Like, oh, I'm going to cry. Leva Bonaparte is there. She finally shows up and she's like, she seems tipsy. He's like, hey, that whole thing. You look good. Oh, you look good. So she's hugging Madison and then Leva's like, oh, Venita, it's your birthday too, isn't it? In a talking head, Venita goes, oh my God, Madison, you're engaged. Oh my God. Oh my God. Yeah. You're party. Like, so basically what's happening is this party is kind of turning into Madison's engagement party. And Madison even says, I feel like this is the vibe for my wedding shower too. And Madison goes, maybe this is what this is. And Venita's like, zoinks, what are you talking about? Go to commercial. We come back. Sarah and Sarah and Tati, Venita's friends, are there. And Venita's like, the party has arrived. And Venita tells her friends about Kathryn and Olivia coming. And she's like, I didn't know they were coming. This will be interesting. So they're saying Charleston in the low country gets a little hot. So they're waving fans. We already got, like, I was thinking about this and just how hot I would be. I was talking about this with Ronnie. Even watching it, I got heated up and I was just like, oh my God, I can smell myself hot already, like in those temperate climates, you can already just like, this is not for me. Naomie comes in and hugs Venita. And she's like, and Leva is like, oh my God, what is it? Birds of one flock. And then she goes, one feather, two flocks of one bird. And Leva keeps going. She's like, two birds of one flock, two birds of one feather. And then Naomie straight face goes, are you okay? It's birds of a feather flock together. And Venita says, I was going to let her have it. And then Naomie says, two birds, one flock together. What? And it's like kind of laughs at Leva, like, you fucking idiot. Leva, can I ask you a question real quick? Venita says, you seem to have things figured out with Kathryn. How do I walk into that space with Kathryn? And then Leva goes, I'm glad you're mentioning that. There's something in your heart. Because I haven't gotten the chance to like sit down and talk to her. And there's still stuff on your heart. Now, Leva, like this is like, I feel like she might be having a stroke or something, because it's like, what are you taught? Like birds of the feather flocking together. And now you're like, I'm glad you mentioned that. That means something's literally on your heart, stuff on your heart. And they're like, once again, could you just answer? Like, how do I do this? But there is stuff on your heart. And she goes, yeah, and I want to grow and build a friendship. And I think I'm going to have to ask her for a one-on-one, Venita says. And Leva goes, heal it up. Heal it up indeed, Leva. We cut to Kathryn and Olivia in the car. And Olivia says, I feel like I'm wearing drapes. And he's like, you excited? And she's like, I really am. I'm making it more than I am in my head, and I want you to be comfortable, Kathryn. And Kathryn's like, I want you to be comfortable and have fun, and for them to, I don't want them to take away your voice because you stood up for me, and I don't want it to be a burden to be my friend, And Olivia goes, I just hope everyone's on the same page. And she's like, it's like garden games, like Hunger Games. And you know me, when I heard that, then the rest of the episode, I literally was picturing this as Hunger Games. I was like, I volunteer Miss Patricia as tribute. Olivia goes, oh my gosh, yes, just let's not be triggered. And she's like, it won't be. I'm not a dramatic person. And then we get a long look from Olivia, like, what the fuck are you talking about, Kathryn? They get there. Venita says, okay, the ladies have arrived. And Venita sees these girls and she goes, listen, Kathryn kills a theme. So that was like a nice thing to say. Kathryn hugs Venita, hugs Olivia. Madison's telling Kathryn, I knew, oh my God, we're already on the engagement story. And Venita's like, oh, let me guess, talking about the engagement. And Kathryn says, mom to mom, I knew it is so important to find someone who is right in the right place you are. And I'm so happy for you. That's another like easy thing to say of like, mom to mom, I know it's important to find somebody who likes you. And Madison's like, you're going to make me cry. Oh my God, you said the right thing. Naomie and Leva are lurking in the background. And Naomie goes, I'm so tired of being the bigger person. I don't want to be the bigger person. She takes a sip of her Diet Coke in the talking head. If it makes Naomie feel any better, I don't feel like she comes off as the bigger person. So she's like, hi, Kathryn. And then Kathryn's like, how are you? It's good to see you. Like really cold. And the talking head, Kathryn goes, fuck that bitch. Naomie says, I feel like you and I should chat. We got a bad start. Naomie's talking to Olivia. And Olivia says, yeah, let's do that. Let's go over here. And Naomie goes, with Kathryn, there is just so much unexplained history, and you couldn't have known, there's 3 sides to everything. And like, you wouldn't have known. So Naomie's trying to give Olivia a way out of like, you don't know how dumb Kathryn is. So you're like, but that's what I was trying to make clear. And I didn't get to say it. And it was coming in on sides and I, she was being spoken about and she wasn't even at the party. And it's just about decency. Olivia says, which you can tell Naomie's like, fuck your decency. And Naomie goes, I respect that. And I also respect that you didn't back down on your point, even though it was a lot with everyone there. I love the Naomie's like, I also respect that. You didn't break down, but you were very wrong. You're a big idiot still. So at this point, Naomie shanks Olivia. We didn't even see that coming, just with a butternut. No. So Naomie goes, whatever problems that are happening have nothing to do with you, Olivia. It's kind of like that Naomie, like, if I'm beating down Kathryn, just know to not jump in. And Olivia's like, yeah, I'm happy for us to move forward and we're good. In a talking head, Olivia says, I appreciate her saying sorry, but do I trust Naomie? No. And Naomie says, this is good. I feel good about this. Now we can move on. We cut to Venita and Venita's like, let's take photos. Venita is like by herself. Nobody seems to be paying attention to her. We cut to Marcie to Olivia. She's like, what's been going on since I seen you? Kind of just trying to pump her for Austen information. Because remember, Marcie always had a girl boner for Austen. And Olivia says, well, we did our group dates. And then he sent me a text saying that we're going to have a date tomorrow. We'll see. Which is, of course, the text that we saw being written for 8 hours with Craig on the golf course. And Taylor says, I want to see this transpire. I really do. Which Taylor, like, those are like big words, which I think Ronnie said, oh, you really see the Shep influence. So he goes, so Kathryn, last time I talked to you, there was shit going on between you and Chubbs, aka Caleb. And she's like, yeah, we broke up. And Venita says, that's sad. That's sad. But let's have a good time today. Let's manifest happiness and peace. And Leva goes, butterflies. And then she goes, my boy is so cute, you guys. He's super competitive at tennis. And then he'll be like, butterfly. And Kathryn says, the innocence of children, so refreshing. People raise their kids to be bad. It's a cycle. They raise them with the same problems. And our system works against that. And Venita is just staring like, are you really saying, are you doing like what? And the talking head, she's like, are you doing this for show? Like, I don't understand. The small action she makes will trickle down to her kids. And it's like, so that moment of anger that you had with, she who will not be named, Venita says to Kathryn, are you saying like the system, now we can't with the kids? I'm getting to know you better, Kathryn. You don't teach your kids that. And Kathryn goes, yeah. And she goes, teach my kids what? Like, you don't use that monkey emoji to the kids. And I'm asking that nicely. And she goes, you're asking me if I do that? No, I absolutely do not. And Venita says, well, that's refreshing. And Leva and Tati are watching, just like, oh, no. And I'm watching like, oh, no. And Venita says, in a moment of anger, it's easy to spread that, to your kids. And that's just me wanting to get to know you better and have a relationship. And I want to make sure that's not happening. The whole time, by the way, this beautiful woodwinds are like violins. And Kathryn says, absolutely not. And then Venita goes, we can cheers to that then. And Kathryn goes, thanks for having me. And they go, thanks for coming. And they drink. We cut to temperature. It says 84 degrees. Madison's laughing and says, oh, this is low-key my bridal lunch now. It truly is. And Naomie goes, oh, there's Miss Patricia. I just saw a Rolls Royce. And then, of course, Whitney gets out to open the door. He's like, oh, it's stuck, Mom. Oh, have fun, Mom. Here's some walking around money. And he's wearing a shirt that says we, OUI. And Miss Patricia's like, hey, ladies. Olivia to Kathryn says, how you doing? And she goes, Venita and I just talked. And Olivia's like, you feel good about it? And Kathryn's like, I just don't know what to think. I don't know. And Miss Patricia's like, oh, beautiful place. Ooh, luxury, finger sandwiches. And Naomie says, I'm starving. And Patricia says, let me give you a little tip to Madison. When you hold your drink, make sure your ring is turned around. And you like that. Yes. And Madison does it. And Miss Patricia says, are you ready? Okay. Yes, of course. They all start sitting down at their plates to eat. And Venita says, okay, take a second and open your little gift. They're cute little earrings, garden themed, dirt and worms, and everybody loves them. Marcie, by the way, we find out, doesn't have her ears pierced. And Miss Patricia goes, me neither. My mother always said loose women have pierced ears, which I mean, I've been thinking about that since Thursday. I'm like, sluts. You know who has pierced ears? Old slutty girls. I didn't even know. Like, I thought I thought that was very normal. But Miss Patricia's like, you a whore. You're whore. They're passing sandwiches, and Leva's like, we don't have sandwiches on this side. I love that Leva has like 5 lines this episode. And one is, we don't have sandwiches on this side. And then the one girl's like, I'm going to take 2. I know that's rude, but I'm hungry. Like, did we need to leave this in? I don't even know who this girl is. This is the same shit, by the way, they served at the tea party at Bluestone Manor and Girls Trip a couple weeks ago. Madison to Olivia says, I heard about you, and I think we're gonna hit it off well. Venita says, okay, well, thank you all for coming to our garden party. And Madison goes, champagne and cupcakes. And Miss Patricia goes, remember, my motto is eat, drink, and remarry. Ha 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 ha. I just like, it's like I wish everybody would just been silent. Like, oh, eat, drink, and you're gonna get divorced. It's gonna cause a lot of heartache for your family and your kids. They're gonna wonder why mom and dad are divorced, but then you'll remarry. Yeah. I mean, like, her toast is potentially really sad. So they're talking, and Miss Patricia does a toast. She goes, so happy birthday to you, Venita. And I'll close by putting forth to all of you that from this time forward, we have no drama and we have a clean slate. And then Miss Patricia goes, I've never had a clean slate, but I'm starting now. So here's to whatever. And they all like, oh. And Leva says, here's to Patricia's first clean slate. Leva says, obviously, there are people who might want to call clean slate amongst this table, but there are others who have issues here. So in the spirit of realness, let's just fix this. Taylor looks at Olivia. And he goes, because these are all big feelings swept under the rug, maybe we can address one of them, in an environment where we don't get heated. Let's fix it. Which is always just so weird. Like, you thought it was like at this birthday party is where we fix the issues. And Venita says, okay, let's do one. Let's do one and done. You first and you second. And she's pointing at Kathryn and Olivia. And Kathryn says, we're trying to be adults and see results. And Venita says, well, let's have the conversation because I like you, but I don't know you. And Kathryn's like, well, I would love that because I want to be present with you too. And it just feels like they're one-upping each other, but there's like an angry undercurrent. I mean, it's like, well, can I be present with you second, or would you like to go first? Like, the order really matters here. And Kathryn says, well, what do you mean? Am I mean? Are you my doctor? I mean, is this an appointment? And I'm starting to like go like, what is happening? What are we talking about now? I totally lost the thread. Venita goes, no. And Kathryn's like, this is very condescending. Olivia's like, no, everybody chill. And Naomie says, Kathryn, you know what? And then Kathryn goes, shut the fuck up, Naomie. And Venita goes, here we go. And Kathryn's like, you're not worth my time. And Miss Patricia goes, no F words, please. And Venita says, if I want to fix things, I wouldn't approach you. So what do you need back from this? And Kathryn's like, I don't need shit. And Venita's like, got it. And Kathryn goes, sorry. Bop-a-doo. It's easy as birds and the bees and the 1, 2, 3s. Ooh, ooh. And that is the end. And next episode, that's right, folks. We have more drama next episode. So that is Thursday night's episode. You'll probably hear that on next Tuesday of the pod. But thank you. This is Been a wild week so far, and I will talk to you bright and early on Thursday, but I hope you guys have a great Wednesday. And remember, you can check this out on YouTube, subscribe to the old YouTube. It really does help. And that's it, you guys. I'll talk to you soon. Bye. And you YouTubers out there, I'll talk to you guys soon as well. Bye, guys. Look at my hair. What is going on?